I'm really happy you're still here. It's 4 p.m. and I know the weather. Yeah, sure. You can sit. I know the weather is great. Luckily, there are no windows here, so you don't know about it. So you can stay with us for the next 15 minutes because we will talk about tech parks. The topic used to be hot and used to be interesting a few years ago. So how is it going right now? What's happening in Brno and what's happening in Krakow right now in your technological and business parks? I think, Wojciech, you can start.
Okay. There's happening a lot. It's actually a funny paradox because there was really a hype on technology parks and technology incubators and all the support institutions in the former EU perspective, and like a huge flow of public money went into the business. In fact, in many cases, too much. It became like the ambition of very many local politicians to have a technology park or technology incubator, also in smaller towns, not necessarily towns that like had some academic institutions, which is like one of the prerequisites to make it in a good way. Then really this hype ended and many people started to ask, okay, we have pumped in a lot of money, where are the results? And the results were not ready yet because it was just too early, but now it starts not only in our case, in also some other cases in Poland, and I believe also in Brno, although the history of JIC is a bit different from the very beginnings. And we have some successes, and also the scale we are operating in is much higher. Currently, just to show a few numbers, we have well over 80 tech companies working under our roofs in 2 buildings, in technology incubator, accelerator, and that we recently launched, and also a bit more grown scale-ups. So we're working daily basis. I like to say we had like a romantic phase in building technology parks a few years ago. Now we're in a positivistic, in a realistic phase, and we just try to make well-made day-by-day work. Yeah. So.
Jindřich, how does it look like in Brno?
From the history perspective, it's pretty much the same as in Poland. There's been a lot of money invested into buildings, and some of them, unfortunately, stayed empty or bankrupted because they just were on a place where there was no chance to get companies inside. Some of them are in a state that they are only offices for rent, which is okay, but no high added value. And few of them, like our incubators, they work with services, and their strategies to really focus on serving companies with advisory growth services and networking opportunities.
Of course, it's always easier to spend money in the infrastructure than you have to find some clients for it. If you're thinking about your services, what do you have to offer right now to attract new companies?
In fact, what we try to sell now, because it's in fact a question about marketing a bit, yeah? We try to sell the community and the competences of the community, because of course it's important to have the competence of at least the basic advisory competences or training competences in-house, yeah? And of course we try to do it. We do things that seem a bit crazy for some technology parks in Poland. For example, we hire people that used to work in startups, yeah? And we take them over, offer them better working conditions because we know that they have the know-how in, I don't know, in user experience field, for example, or some others that our other startups need. But I believe that the most important thing about such institutions, such places that we do is not, of course, the infrastructure. People are highly important, but not only the people that work for KTP itself as a company, but also people that work in the whole community. And if we are able to find some synergies and to mobilize this really enormous know-how, yes, because if we have like 80 companies, it means 500 people, and these 500 people really know a lot about all possible tech and business issues. And if we manage like to make this know-how like flow through the whole community, then we are successful. And that's more or less something that we are trying right now. The second, like maybe way we do it, and we did it in fact, all we have done for many years, is like finding some niches, even within IT. So we've started working with game dev industry like some years ago. Now we're working a lot with some more hardware-oriented companies, IoT, industrial IoT, also smart city. So we are finding some niches where the market is maybe not that experienced that in some other IT software fields, and we try like to enhance the boost of these niches. Yeah.
Jindřich, you're doing the same, building a network?
Yeah, exactly. I see KTP and JIC very similar in terms of it. I don't perceive our institutions as such. It's really about the network, and we try to manage the different stakeholders as good as possible. So we try to link our clients, which are mainly startups and SMEs, with business experts, which are one group we accredit and we work actively with. We involve in business cases, investors, corporates, open innovation services that we provide, and also international networks. So there is no more issue with having our offices empty. We are totally over-demanded. So we are now, our strategy is to buy with our regional and city government another part of a field where we can build further development area where we can accommodate our scale-ups. But it's rather about the networking, as you said.
There is also one important issue I forgot to mention, because when KTP started its first technology incubator like some 8 or 9 years ago, it was in fact the only place in Krakow that supported startups like regular basis. There were like some capital funds that were launching also at the time, innovation as status, but it was really nearly like a desert in Krakow. Now we are only part of a huge ecosystem, startup ecosystem that's happening in the city. I wouldn't say the most important one. I'm sure not the most important one. There are a lot of players that are building this whole industry. There is some platform that links us all. It's also a network itself. It's called the OMG KRK Foundation, and we're also part of it. But we try like to interfere with many possible actors and do a lot. Also to offer our infrastructure as a basis for lots of events. So at KTP now a lot of stuff is happening, and only part of it is organized by us. We are just also a hub, a home for many different initiatives. Yeah.
Jindřich, you mentioned it already, the cooperation with the local authorities, how they are important and how they are developing.
They make the ecosystem in our region stable, because we are 100% public body founded by city, region, and our 4 universities. So whenever something bad happens in the regional government or city government, the other can outweigh them and make the future possible. Unfortunately, this constellation is not there in many other regions, and they cannot set up such stable long-term service-oriented system. So I think it's a key success element also for Krakow, that the steady support from the stakeholders. It allows you to work with your clients on a long-term basis.
Yep.
Do you agree?
I agree. It's important, although concerning the finance, we do not get any stable support from our shareholders. In fact, we're a limited company, and all the money we have, we need to earn. We usually earn a bit more money because we also have a second role, that is managing the special economic zone in Małopolska region. So we are earning a bit of money doing that, and we invest in the technology park leg, let's say. But of course, we cooperate with other shareholders. It's more or less the same as in your case, but we also are co-owned by the state of Poland because of this role of special economic zone manager, as we like issue public aid in the name of the Republic of Poland. But it's like it's maybe a specific of us that is something special. Just to show an example how it may work together. We launched our acceleration program a few days ago. In fact, it was the last tool, the support tool we didn't have in our portfolio. In fact, we were learning how to do that also in Brno, thanks to the colleagues, because they are much more experienced in that field, in that specific tool. But what we did specific in our acceleration program was inviting industrial companies from the special economic zone to become partners. And they are also like the first potential customers for the startups that we are accelerating.
And always when you get money, there is a question about the effects. Can you say something about the effects for the local economy? Or is it too early yet?
When you're asking about large numbers, it's still too early. Yeah, if you're asking about large numbers, it's still too early. Although estimate that the Krakow startup scene now is more or less somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 people, and around 600 of them work under KTP roof, yeah, so like 20% of it. So still it's just a piece of it, but we started to have companies that started growing really fast, yeah, and it's in fact it's everything what this game is about. We have a couple of companies that started in our new venue like 1 year ago, and after 1 year they grew like from 3 people to 30 or 40 or 50 people, yeah. And we have a couple of cases like that, and it says us it's the right thing we are doing, and it's just now a matter of time to find like even bigger scale in that actions.
Yeah, I think also for our stakeholders it's everything about impact, and there are a lot of ways how to measure it. Right now we are running a big project evaluation of 15 years of our regional innovation strategy projects. It will be very complex, but only small example can be that one of our accelerator alumni is a company kiwi.com. Maybe some of you have flown with them, and only this company through last 3 years with the growth from 0 employees to 2,000 employees and going IPO this year, have paid all the public investments that have been spent during these 15 years. But you never know when this unicorn appears. We are happy that it happened. There are a few others that are on the track.
Yeah. There's also, if I may just add one thing, there's also a cool outcome we did somewhere. Not in the incubation itself, but around it, we have launched a B2B event for game dev industry a couple of years ago at KTP, financed at the beginning from public money entirely, and after 2 years, in fact, we commercialized it, and it's growing all the time, and right now it's the biggest B2B game dev event in Central and Eastern Europe. We had like 1,500 people last week, in fact, in this venue, people only from game industry. We have a couple of these companies, game dev companies, working under KTP roof, but in fact we are supporting the whole Polish industry, which is one of the biggest and fastest growing tech industries in Poland. Yeah,
so where do you see your institutions, where do you see your parks in next 5 to 10 years? I know 10 years maybe it's a too long perspective, but like 5 years is forecastable.
Actually, our aim is to make a bottom-up movement, at least in Czech Republic, which is happening this year. We are spreading out to Moravian Silesian region, where there is a Moravian Silesian Innovation Center being founded right now, and we spread our Platin program, where there are around 50 business experts available, and we make it straight available to this region, so their companies can straight use this network. And we will probably spread this network to South Bohemia next year. And our vision, together with our Swiss colleagues from Platin, from an organization called Platin, is to connect the regional hubs throughout Europe that are strong in innovation, just like Krakow, Małopolskie, and together with Lithuania, with Upper Austria, with South Tyrol, Wallonia, and others who want to join us, and Scotland, to connect our networks. And we are developing platforms that will digitalize this support and the network. So that is something I would like to invite also people from audience to cooperate if they are interested.
But you know the strategy from Brno, now you can tell about yours.
I would say we do more or less the same, in fact, and it's funny. We should find some contradictions maybe, but in fact we are doing
but you're collaborating.
We're collaborating and we're going more or less, we're doing the same path. We are not spreading geographically. We try to do more and more in Krakow and for the region, in fact, because we know we are probably the most experienced technology park in Krakow. But in this realistic view, I mentioned before, we just want our tools to be more and more efficient. So we want to produce more and more companies that hire more and more people and generate more and more revenue. It's the main goal. But we also do more and more about internationalization, both about services for the companies that help them enter other markets, but also about like finding some networks with other networks that work in Europe or globally. We are currently We are already managing 2 international projects, and we are starting 2 new international projects in a couple of months that we already won. So we're doing more and more like to help our companies grow also, not only at the Polish market.
And together we meet on the platform of European Business Network, which is the platform for, let's say, the best European innovation centers and technology parks. So there we cooperate.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you for the chat. What did you say? Everything is about the impact.
At least here.
Yeah, at least here. Thank you very much.